Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I am doing well. Sorry about that. Hope you could hear me now. I was just letting Dow up. Welcome, welcome.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Good morning, Dal. Good morning, everybody.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We also have Dan up here. Dan, mic check. Welcome.
Hey, GM.
Good morning. Glad to have you here. We'll kick it off in a minute. I'm just making sure everything is ready to go. But yeah, before we kick it off, Tammy, Dow, how are you guys doing?
I'm doing great this morning. I'm actually sitting outside enjoying the weather. It's 80 degrees here. It's crazy. So it's really nice. Hopefully, you guys are doing okay. I don't know if you guys got all that rain, but man, I've been watching those TikToks and the news about Fort Lauderdale is bad. I can't get over how much
Yeah,
rain.
it was really bad. Thankfully, I'm not in the Fort Lauderdale area, but like I told Matt, I'm like, if you're Floridian and your car's never gotten flooded, like you're not a true Floridian. So, but yeah, it was definitely bad, and even the airport was like they had to shut down the airport because the runway was flooded. So it was really crazy and completely
I
unexpected.
saw Yeah, I saw that, and Dave and I always fly into Fort Lauderdale when we come to Miami. I couldn't get over how that looked. It's crazy. And just quick note, check those Carfaxes out when those cars start being sold. Just saying, because they'll clean those up real good, but you just want to make sure you don't have a salvage title. Just throwing that out
Oh
there.
Yeah.
man, sorry to hear that. Wait, Matt is based out of Fort Lauderdale? This whole time I thought it was a Miami Negro.
Oh, he's in Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, he's in Fort Lauderdale. I remember my first car got flooded when I was like 15, and I was devastated. It was probably like 8 months after I got it, and it was like a total loss. Yeah, but yeah,
No. And y'all get alligators and that stuff. That's what creeps me the hell out. Like that would be so scary to me because you don't know what's floating around in that water.
completely agree. Dow, what's up with you? Big week in the Ethereum community. How's everything going?
I was there. I witnessed it. Well, the nothing burger of the Shanghai upgrade, but I didn't sleep through it. So this is recorded, right? So you guys heard it. I did not sleep through it this time. I was actually awake and aware this was happening. But yeah, the Shanghai update went through. As so far, it looks like it hasn't had much of an impact on the ETH price. If anything, I think it made people more bullish for it. But the most important thing is nothing bad happened so far. There hasn't been any major hacks, so everything went through. And so, from what I've heard, like as well in the roadmap for ETH, the next couple of upgrades or forks are going to be focused on scalability. So, exciting time to be in crypto and Ethereum.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and just a quick stat, I did see, to your point, 198 million has been staked to the network in the past 24 hours. And a lot of what I saw on the timeline too, like a lot of people that were unstaking were actually like restaking with different validators, which is a good thing. Hopefully, people are unstaking from centralized exchanges and moving to a more decentralized platform. But yeah, but yeah, and then we have Dan. Our guest today is Gas Hawk IO. Dan, obviously you're building on Ethereum. How did it go with the recent upgrade? Anything you saw that maybe you want to share with us?
Yeah. No, I mean nothing directly affecting Gashawk. Obviously, it was a smooth upgrade, which is always nice to see. It's I guess the second straight upgrade that's gone relatively smoothly, so that's always nice. And yeah, the only thing that I've seen that was interesting is really from a withdrawal perspective. It looks like, I think as of last night, about 98% of withdrawals were coming through Kraken. And if people may remember, Kraken's actually being essentially court ordered through the US government to shut down their staking service. And so when you really look at the amount of people that are net withdrawals and net deposits, more people are actually depositing than withdrawing if you account for Kraken's kind of forced withdrawal. So yeah, exciting upgrade, another milestone in ETH development, and we're super excited to be able to continue to support the network and people who use it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And Dan, I think this is your first time in crypto and coffee. Maybe you just want to give us a quick intro. How did you end up in the space and how did you end up starting GasHawk?
Sure. Yeah, happy to dive in. Yeah, I've been in crypto for roughly the last 7-8 years. I got started in my career actually through business development, digital marketing, and growth. So it was the first business development hire at an agency based in Los Angeles. Scaled that agency from about 25 employees to 350 pretty quickly, and had a really amazing opportunity to sit down with about 800 or 900 early stage founders, understand their pain points, their needs, their in-house capabilities, their budgets, and then essentially look through our suite of services to diagnose and execute on a marketing plan for them. Fast forward to about 2016, 2017. I had been spending a lot of time in crypto personally and started to get a lot of ICO clients and early stage crypto companies that needed help with go to market strategies. And back at that time, a lot of the traditional paid media, paid search were off limits. So you couldn't advertise on Facebook or Google or Twitter, anything like that. So I had to get very creative using our services to really help these early stage ICO projects or crypto companies go to market. After Hawk Media, I was the COO of a company called ZenLedger, which is a crypto tax and accounting platform. Was there for about 4 years. Maybe some people in the crowd have used us, but one of the leading crypto tax and accounting platforms. Service about 100,000 early stage users, enterprises, and then actually had government contracts as well. And so that was a really amazing time, built through the bear market of 2018 all the way through kind of the bull market of NFT and DeFi summer. And then, yeah, in May of 2022, GasHawk started development. Just to be clear, I was not a founder of GasHawk, but I came in to take over the project. And so, yeah, started building GasHawk in May of 2022 and then launched at the end of October, early November, and have been live for the last 4 months.
Awesome. Yeah. So it looks like you've been in this space for a minute. So maybe just for everybody who doesn't know, like just give a brief overview. What is GasHawk? How does it help us? And yeah, tell us a little bit more about that.
Absolutely. And first, thank you for the opportunity to come up and even be able to provide information around what we're doing. And so, yeah, GasHawk offers a really innovative solution to a major challenge faced by users and institutions on the Ethereum network, which is high and volatile transaction fees. And so, essentially, what GasHawk does is we monitor the network and actually predict the optimal time to submit a transaction on behalf of our users. Typically, GasHawk can save users and institutions up to 95% on each transaction. And so it's a really powerful service, especially as you're transacting on ETH mainnet, to be able to save on your transaction fees. We also have a transaction manager kind of built into this gas savings and gas optimization wedge. And so that transaction manager actually eliminates stuck transactions and prevents transaction failures. And then we also have MEV protection built in that wards off front running or sandwiching. And so essentially, GasHawk is an MEV resistant gas rebate RPC layer with the capacity to really grow our product offering and value as we build out kind of our full vision. And so right now, how users use GasHawk is you actually come to our website, gashawk.io. We actually have our corporate account in here as well as a listener. And then in my bio, links out to our profile as well. But you come onto our site, we actually have a one-click integration. So you add our network to your wallet. And so if you're using MetaMask or Rainbow or whatever wallet of your choice, you add our network, and then you're essentially using your wallet like you normally would. So you go to OpenSea and buy an NFT, you go to ENS and register an ENS domain, whatever you are doing in your day-to-day life, except for now you're saving on every single transaction. And so I think it's a really powerful tool for users. On the user side, our platform is absolutely free to use. We don't charge a fee. There's no percentage of savings. There's not like a usage-based model, anything like that. So our platform is absolutely free to use. And because of that, we've been able to win a few different public goods grants to keep the service running and provide this public good to the community. And then on the enterprise side, we work with exchanges, layer twos, custodians, DAOs, NFT platforms, DeFi protocols, anyone that's to come back to mainnet to settle. And then we actually are able to provide the same type of savings for these types of institutional clients. And so, yeah, that's kind of a high level overview, and obviously happy to dive in, anywhere and anywhere.
Thanks for that overview. Yeah, I have a question. So basically, what it is you're signing up to like a custom RPC, and then talk a little bit maybe about people that may be concerned about security or privacy. How does that work, or any implications with security or privacy from a user perspective?
Absolutely. No, great question. And so, yeah, you are correct. We do sit at the RPC layer, and that's how we're able to connect to your wallet so easily. By connecting to your wallet, all that means is that your transactions get routed through our RPC layer. We are completely non-custodial. So we have no ability to sign transactions. We have no ability to move your funds. We have no ability to do anything to your wallet. So essentially what happens is once you connect GasHawk to your wallet, and you go to whatever dApp app protocol that you normally would, the transaction flow looks very similar. So, I go to OpenSea, I buy, I select an NFT that I want to buy, I click, confirm, I get the pop up in my MetaMask wallet, do you want to actually buy this, et cetera, et cetera. And then once I click sign is actually where we come into play. And so that sign transaction comes through GasHawk, and then you can set an account deadline or a transaction deadline, anywhere between 5 minutes and 24 hours. And then given that deadline, we'll actually execute that transaction for you at the lowest gas fee in that deadline. And so, yeah, to answer your question, we are completely non-custodial. We have no ability to move transactions, edit anything you're doing, sign transactions, move your funds, anything like that. So yeah, we think the security side is really interesting. As far as how transactions are monitored through our network, essentially what happens is we have two different options. The transactions can go directly to the public mempool through our platform. And so, it's just like it normally would, except for instead of it sending directly to Infura, it goes through us. And then the other option that we have, and this is kind of where the MBB protection comes in, is we've actually integrated with Flashbots Protect. And so, for people who are familiar, Flashbots Protect provides MBB protection for users. And so if you actually use Flashbot Protect through GasHawk, that transaction goes through their private mempool and then gets selected and solidified as block builders start to build their blocks. And so, yeah, hopefully that's a little bit of information on the security side. But, yeah, completely non-custodial and no ability to move funds, sign transactions, anything like that. We essentially step in at the phase of where a transaction is signed and then manage it through finality.
Interesting. Yeah, I've always been a fan of like custom RPCs, and just like in general for everybody, the RPC is basically what connects like the wallet to the blockchain. Hopefully I'm explaining this correctly. And the main one is Infura. And in the past, there's been a lot of, Infura is a centralized entity and they're able to block people from using their RPCs. And we've seen that already in some instances. So yeah, that's an interesting comment. Interesting concept. Sorry about that. Dal, any questions or comments?
Yeah, this is a very exciting product, and I like the way you describe it. It really feels like it's a public good. I put my address onto the gashawk.io, and not a positive news, man. I saw that I spent 23 ETH in 2,000 transactions since EIP 1559. So that's about 50 G's, man. So I love the product, but the first thing I see is kind of negative. But then obviously,
Oh no, it tells you how much you spent.
it shows me how
Yeah.
much I spent on transactions. But the cool thing is I also get to see, obviously, how much I would have saved if I had used Gas Hawk, right? Which is around like 8 ETH, which would be like around 15,000. So I think it's a great product because you've touched on MEV. Obviously, transactions can get really expensive on ETH. And so for adoption, right? For just regular people to be able to use chains, not just Ethereum. I'm assuming that you guys will integrate that product for other chains. It's just really important for users not to have to deal with gas all the time, right? So I also like the point about that you're keeping it, I guess, a public goods for everyday user, but you also have the enterprise angle. I'd love to hear more about that. Like, what kind of relationship or interest do you get from more institutional and enterprise side of things?
Yeah, great question. And thanks for taking a look at the site. We added that feature maybe about 2 months ago. And if anyone's familiar with like fees.wtf, it was a platform, I guess, pretty popular about a year ago. I would show you how much you spend in gas fees. And so our concept was kind of a remake of that, of not only showing you how much you've spent, but how much we could have saved you. And so that's been super impactful, especially for our conversion rates on site of people who hear about us. They're like, wow, that's a no brainer. Why would I not want to save on fees? But then it becomes a little bit more impactful and clear. It's like, oh wow, and I think in your case you said 8 ETH, and so that's 8 ETH that goes right back into your wallet that allows you to, do whatever you want to do, buy more NFTs, supply more liquidity, put 8 ETH back into a validator and stake it. We have. We have no opinion on how you use your money. We just want to make sure that you have more of it that stays with you and not going to fees. And so, yeah, for anyone else that's listening, our site is just gashawk.io. And at the top of our site, you'll see this little pop-up that says, how much could we have saved you? And then it'll show you how much you spent, how many transactions went in, how much we could have saved you. And then you can simply click get started, add our network to your wallet, and begin saving. Yeah, on the institutional side, it's somewhat similar in the sense that you have a lot of these institutions that are spending a lot of money on transaction fees. You look at some of the bigger exchanges like a Coinbase, a Binance, a Kraken, who are spending, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars a month just on transaction fees. And so it's a pain point for anyone using mainnet. We'll talk a little bit, hopefully, about kind of our vision for the future and our ability to build a cross chain into the EVM stack into other layer ones and layer twos, but especially on mainnet, it is such a concern for everyone using it. And so obviously those are individuals, but that's also institutions. And we say institutions in the sense that that can be anyone from, like a 10-person DAO that's voting on on-chain proposals or managing an on-chain treasury, all the way through like these large institutions like an exchange or a layer two or a custodian. And so essentially the same type of concept. They are spending a lot of money on gas fees, and they would like to have a solution that helps save them on these fees. Obviously, the volume and the percentage of savings is pretty significant for these institutions, and so we wanted to be able to provide the same type of tech stack for these institutions. For us, that's actually how we're able to currently monetize the product. And so on the user side, we made the choice to keep GasLock completely free. And so by doing that, we've been able to win a few different public goods grants. We've won 3 different public goods grants from ENS, one from Ethereum Foundation's inaugural DAO Drops campaign, and then one from Optimism's retroactive public goods. And so that allows us to keep that user side free. On the enterprise side, for these enterprises, what we do is we actually provide the same type of technology stack. But for them, we'll take 30% of the net savings that we generate for them. And so, a high level example, let's say, institution ABC is spending a lot on gas fees, and we can save them 100 ETH every month. We'll invoice for 30% of that, or 30 ETH on a monthly basis. And obviously that scales up and down. We have some smaller institutions that are, like a 5-10 person DAO. They're spending 2-3 ETH a month, and one voice for like 0.3 or 0.6. So the enterprise side is how we are able to really monetize what we're doing. And on the public side, we really want to keep this free for users to provide this public good for the ecosystem. The other thing that I'll mention on that, and I think Jess may have, it looks like Jess posted this as like the tweet at the top. But actually, our first ENS public goods grant, we decided to provide a rebate back to the community. So we took the entire 1 ETH that we were awarded, and right now we're reimbursing users for using GasHawk. So not only can you save up to 95% on every single transaction, but we'll actually reimburse you up to 51% of every transaction that goes through GasHawk. And that's until that 1 ETH runs out. I believe we're at like 0.36, 0.37 left in that pool. And so obviously, hopefully this Twitter space gets, piques your interest and gets you trying this out. And so if you try us out, we'll also reimburse you through that public good side of things. So hopefully that provides a little bit of context around the public goods angle, and then also how we work with enterprises.
Yeah, appreciate those answers. One thing, right, that probably some people are concerned is you say that basically there's an option between 5 minutes to 24 hours, right, in terms of like how quick you want the transaction to go through. A lot of us are DJs, right? We probably want to do some maybe some transaction on Uniswap that are price sensitive. Do you have like almost like a way to retry the transactions, or what's the percentage of transactions that don't go through because of the time sensitive aspect of some of those transactions?
Yeah, great question. And that's actually what we're working on from a development angle. And so our research actually shows that we can get the minimum wait time down from 5 minutes to about 30 seconds with average savings of 20%. And so that gives you that same type of finality that you'd get going directly to the mempool. And so if you're swapping, like into a low liquidity pool, and you want instant finality, you'll still be able to get that finality, but have this gas savings, have this transaction manager, have MEV protection all built in. And so for people that may have joined a little bit after we started, we launched the product at the end of October, early November. And so I've been live for whatever that is, 120, 150 days. And so our first shot at, kind of planting our flag and getting users signed up was really focused on these non-time sensitive transactions. But as you mentioned, we are, acutely aware that in order to, expand into the next 100,000 million users, we have to be able to provide the same service for a user regardless of what they're doing. And so that's one aspect, is getting those minimum wait times down from 5 minutes to roughly instant finality. The other aspect that I'll mention on the timeline is it doesn't mean that we'll wait the entire time. And so let's say you come onto GasHawk, you set a 5-minute deadline. That doesn't mean that we're going to wait 5 minutes to process the transaction. That means that we have up to 5 minutes to monitor the network and see in that 5-minute period what is the best time to actually submit and finalize that transaction on your behalf. And so that may be, 43 seconds into that 5-minute window is the best time during that window. So yeah, that's one aspect, is we really want to get those transaction deadlines down quicker. And then the other aspect from an engineering perspective is actually building in these simulations for transactions. We've done this currently with Tenderly, which is a really impactful tool that allows you to see when your transaction was actually submitted, the timing and things like that. But on our side, for the simulation side, what we'll actually be able to do is, since a user is actually sending their transactions through GasHawk, we'll actually be able to see where they're interacting with and automatically adjust the deadline for you. And so let's say you submit a transaction through GasHawk and we see that it's interacting with Uniswap smart contracts. We'll automatically adjust the deadline to 30 seconds. And then let's say the next transaction that you send through GasHawk is going through ENS. You're registering an ENS domain, something that's a little less time sensitive than like a low liquidity swap. We'll automatically adjust that deadline to 24 hours because we want you to get maximum amount of savings. And so right now, a user has the ability to set a deadline, make that deadline sooner or later, and transact instantly through our dashboard. And so there is some customizations to get quicker and better execution. But yeah, over the next, probably 2-3 months, a lot of our development work and engineering time are going into getting these deadlines down very quick, which then provides a really great flow where you don't have this trade-off between finality and savings. You get finality and savings, which we think is a very compelling argument to try us out.
Awesome. I was just on there, Max Payne. I just put my wallet in, and yeah, you don't even have to connect your wallet. So if you just want to see how much you saved, it looks like I would have saved at 0.98. So not as bad as Dow, but still, that's $2,000.
That's enough for Solana
That's a
phone.
whole. Yeah, exactly. That could have been enough for my Solana phone. Go ahead, Brad, and then we'll go to Marianne. Welcome, Brad.
Hey, GM. Hope you guys are doing all right. Yeah, I had a question for Dan because I've seen GasHawk before, and I always kind of like poked around and, looked at it and whatnot. And a question for you, Dan, is are you guys handling those rebates like on the smart contract level, or are you running like a separate, like an LP on the side, handling it through APIs and things like that? Or is it all done on the smart contract level?
Yeah, the rebates are essentially done internally, and what I mean by that is we were awarded the 1 ETH from ENS through our first public goods grant, and so that 1 ETH actually sits in our wallet, which is gashawk.eth. And so essentially, what happens is typically every week or every 2 weeks, we'll actually look through and see, okay, in this week we had whatever 75 users and 310 transactions, and that amounted to 0.23 ETH. And then we'll actually use some like statistical modeling on our end to actually see, okay, which address was responsible for X amount of ETH, and actually submit that through our own wallet back to the user. So it's not necessarily through like a smart contract. We use a platform called Disperse, which is a pretty cool technology if anyone's ever heard of it. Essentially allows you, and Disperse and GasHawk is like a great combo, but allows you to make one transaction where you're having let's say 100 different counterparties in that transaction. And so yeah, we'll see every address. We'll total up how much they spent using GasHawk during the week, and then we'll submit that transaction. I'll see if I can start to put another tweet up at the top, but we just made our 8th reimbursement payment, I believe, end of last week. And so we have about like 0.37 ish left in that pool. And so until that remaining allocation runs out, we'll still be providing these reimbursements to our users. The other thing that I'll mention on the rebate side is that that's actually part of our grander vision. And we can get into how we're thinking about GasHawk 6 months from now, a year from now. But these rebates, cashback rewards is actually a really impactful use case and value add that we can provide to the ecosystem. And those will be a little bit more automated than this kind of current reimbursement campaign. So hopefully that gives a little bit more context.
Oh yeah, thanks, man. No, I love what you guys are doing. Like, keep up the good work. You and the team are crushing it. So I can't wait to see what you guys end up building in the future.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate your support.
Yeah, and I just realized that I didn't put in my Degen wallet, so I'm gonna keep the other numbers to myself. But yeah, Tammy, did you try it?
No, I haven't. I haven't had the courage to yet. I don't wanna
God,
know,
everybody's
but I
scared, but
will. But I
I
will.
know. But yeah, let's welcome Marianne. Marianne, good morning. How's it going?
Jess, hello. How are you doing? It's been a while. Tammy is here too.
Good
How are you
morning,
guys doing?
Marianne.
I am so excited to be here. Honestly, it's been a while I've been in the space, but I saw you guys and I was like, I have some time now. Let me join. I'm super busy building a lot of things for the space right now. Jess, I would love to set up a call with you to talk to you about everything. And I'm just here to support, guys. I'm just here to support. And would you allow me to offer the space participants a small surprise?
I'm sorry, yes, but after we finish with Gas Hawk, which will be at the top of the hour,
Her.
definitely. But yeah, we go till 1, but we have them here, so I want to be respectful of Dan's time. But definitely, you could always come
Of
here and
course.
share anything with the community. Definitely, and
100%.
I'm also my DMs are always open, flooded but open. I sometimes I'll take a
Okay.
while, but I get back. I try to get back to you guys. I'm sorry. But yeah, yeah, Marianne, you should definitely try out Gas Hawk. Let us know how much money you have spent in gas fees,
I
and
will.
you don't even
I'm
have to
scared
connect your
though. I'm
wallet.
super scared, Jess. I'm extremely scared. I don't want to know. It's fucking scary, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try right now.
Yeah, but yeah, I do have a question, Dan. Like, looking forward, I mean, obviously, we're talking about L2s, ZK Sync, all these solutions that are supposed to help improve gas fees. So, what is the long term vision for Gas Hawk once these things get implemented?
Yeah, great question. And I just put the tweet at the top as well. It was we went through the top 10 addresses on Blur for their airdrop and actually looked through how much they could have saved. And so number one was Machi Big Brother, who I believe could have saved about 75 ETH using Gashawk. So yeah, pretty cool. Feel free to come on the site, check us out. Obviously, that number will pop up, and it may stop your heart beating for a second, but you'll see that start saving now button, and so if you click that, you'll have a one-click integration to start saving with us. And so yeah, would love to have you try us out. As far as like the future, there's obviously multiple aspects of the future that we're trying to stay aware of. One of them is around account abstraction and EIP 4337, and how that may impact how gas fees are paid for, whether they're paid for and sponsored by dApps, as far as gas coverage or rebates, and how smart contract wallets may impact the base fee moving forward. And so one thing that we think is really compelling is that Gashawk can actually integrate with paymasters in this future. And so essentially what will happen is dApps will be able to create their own paymasters and interact with smart contract wallets. With that smart contract wallet, they'll be able to bundle transactions that allow for use cases that essentially previously weren't possible or were too expensive to practically implement. And so essentially what can happen is Gashawk can integrate directly with these paymasters to unlock net new activities in Web3 while providing immense gas savings for the contract wallet, the relayer, and other service providers, and of course the end user. And so, we are thinking ahead as far as account abstraction, EIP 4337, and then, you mentioned kind of layer twos. For us, the way that we're thinking about block space utilization is that essentially whenever a transaction needs to be made on chain, where block space comes at a cost, and there's a time window for that transaction, Gashawk can really step in to provide assistance, support, and savings there. And so as demand for block space shifts from individuals to services, Gashawk can help reduce the expense for settlement transactions. And we're already prepared to focus from individual users to high volume services, as we've been essentially anticipating that transition. And so since we are aware that a potential future for DeFi could be moving towards layer 2 solutions, whether that's Optimism or Arbitrum or ZK Sync or Starknet, we're very well positioned to integrate into that stack. And so since Gashawk is wallet and chain agnostic, we can really integrate across each wallet, across each chain, and really unify users' transactions for a seamless experience, in addition to these gas savings. So yeah, we are kind of acutely aware of how gas fees may evolve over time, whether that's for the base layer itself or how gas fees are paid for through account abstraction. And then part of our greater vision for Gashawk is actually building this robust RPC layer where gas savings and gas optimization is just one side of what we're actually building into. That's kind of our first wedge into this market. Let's build this really amazing product that services hundreds of thousands, millions of users, hundreds, if not thousands, of institutions. But then for us, we're really thinking of building out more of a robust RPC layer. So that includes like security, scam, fraud, and theft protection. That includes transaction result previews and simulations. Obviously, cost savings, unified transaction management and annotation, data aggregation, rebates, rewards. Since we sit cross-chain, we can monitor and alert for complex cross-chain arbitrage opportunities, private order flow. And so the nice thing about Gashawk is, as you mentioned before, since we sit at that RPC layer, we essentially sit between the wallet and the blockchain. And so that transaction layer is a layer that we can provide immense value for, whether that's for users or institutions as block space continues to evolve. I know that's kind of a lot to throw at you, but wanted to give kind of an overview of how we're viewing the market moving forward.
Yep.
No, I think that's a great answer. And, okay, I'm going to throw my little Ethereum jab here. The way things move on the Ethereum side, it's probably going to be a while till some of these things are implemented. But go ahead, Dal.
Yeah.
I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry.
That's fine. We had a great week, so we go at it. You can jab us all week, we'll still be happy. But I think what you say is so key, right? You are the gateway between the wallets and the blockchain, right? And there's a lot of conversation around MEV, around what you mentioned, like account abstraction and smart wallets. Even what I see on your side, right? Like the signing of Ethereum, right? The ability to provide like a Web2 type of login, using Web2 technology. It to me seems like you guys are at the heart of, you know some of the major conversation for mass adoption of crypto in general. And we could definitely talk about that, like, probably for the next 2 hours. I really think, like, now that it put all the pieces together in my head, like, you're in a perfect situation, in my opinion, to get a sense of what the onboarding of the next generation of crypto users, beyond speculators, right? Like, players, artists, entrepreneurs, enterprise, right? If you were to fast forward, let's say 12 months from now, right? Or whenever you think there's going to be mass adoption, what does that wallet looks like? What does that wallet experience looks like, in your opinion? Could you, like, maybe describe what the ideal situation, or what seems to be the trend for onboarding users in the next, for the next wave of users?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. It's something that I've thought about for a long time, and I think anyone in crypto who's here for the long term is obviously thinking about. Um, I think there's a few different angles that go into that. Obviously, providing a better experience on the wallet angle for users to self custody, for them to feel comfortable and secure in how they're operating and managing their own funds is super important. But I also think that providing compelling use cases in crypto is also equally important. And so, security, usability, UI, UX is super important. But we've seen, in countless examples in other technologies where value add is actually a bigger impact in user adoption. And so users are willing to overlook, some UI UX challenges, especially if the value add that they're receiving in using the technology kind of exceeds the um, complexity of interacting with the technology. And so I think it's all of the above, right? I think we are trying to provide really great infrastructure that allows the next billion users to get involved. We've seen this especially early on with some of our partners that are on like the Quest side. And so we partner with a platform called fee.xyz, which is a really cool platform that essentially shows you, all these opportunities within crypto and allows you to start building your on-chain reputation, on-chain identity by going through and actually getting these NFTs that showcase on-chain transactions. So it's, hey, go buy your first NFT, go supply your first liquidity, go do X, Y, and Z. And the feedback that we got from them is that a lot of these initial users were coming on saying, okay, crypto sounds interesting. I want to give it a try, but I'll only allocate, $100, $1,000. And then 30% of that was going directly to gas fees. And so they were running out of funds to be able to try out all these different things. And so by being able to actually sit at that transaction layer and provide a safer, cheaper experience, we think is super impactful for users. So, we're really excited for what we're doing, what we're building. But there's also a lot of other teams that are building on the security side. I think Jess and I got connected through the Fire.xyz team, who's one of our partners. And so what they're doing is obviously super interesting. How do we make on-chain transactions human readable? How do we keep wallets safe? Another one of our partners is a platform called Revoke.cash. And Revoke.cash allows you to revoke contract approvals and allowances. And so that's really important for wallet hygiene. And so, yeah, we think we're, an important part of this evolution moving forward. But I think there's a lot of really smart and really talented people who are trying to solve for these issues and problems that will allow us to onboard, the next billion users. Obviously, we've spoken about layer twos, but that's also a really impactful technology that's focused on some of the same things that we are. But yeah, I guess the other part of that, which I mentioned, is really the use cases. We saw a large rise of users that came in with DeFi, with NFTs, and those are just so important for us to actually provide compelling reasons to actually interact with crypto. And so yeah, I think it's a wag me style attitude, right? Like, we're all going to make it, but we all need to contribute to this greater future moving forward. And so we're lucky enough to be working with some really amazing teams who are building in the security custody side, more on like the infrastructure side. But then we also work with really amazing teams that are providing these net new experiences, which we think will be super impactful to bring in the next billion users.
You know what, just hearing you say that you're working with like Fire Team and Revoke Team, like that makes me super bullish, because these are like all, if we could group all these things together in one package, it would be the perfect user experience. And yeah, if you guys have not tried Join Fire app, it's up on the top. It will let you know when you're signing a transaction in pictures, this JPEG is leaving your wallet if you signed a bad link. So so it helps you understand what you're signing instead of the MetaMask jargon that you see every time. So definitely check it out, and it really makes me happy to see that you guys are all working together. Brad, I see you have your hand up.
Yeah, hey, thanks. I'm gonna actually drop to listener. I just wanted to thank you guys for having an awesome space again, and super bullish again on Dan and the team and what you guys are building. So yeah, thank you, Jess, Tammy, and Dow for hosting another dope ass space. I'm gonna drop to listener as I gotta tee off, and my brother's kind of getting heated. So
Did you see how much ETH you spent? Is that why you're jumping off?
yeah, I need to go like reassess like all of my finances and think about all of the decisions I've made up to this point. So yeah,
Thanks for coming, Brad.
oh yeah,
Thanks, Brad.
yeah, we'll
Hey
catch you.
guys. Hey guys, the verdict's in. I checked mine. I'm sick about it. I could have saved almost a whole ETH. I'm sick. I shouldn't have done it. But you know what? Going forward, guess what I'm going to be using?
Yeah, and Josh, I'll go to you real quick. Let me just, before I forget. So we talked about we talked about some of the things where you can use Gas Hawk. Is there any situations or processes that you can't use Gas Hawk, or that you shouldn't?
Yeah, I'd say the one aspect, and we touched on this a little bit earlier, is really on these like low liquidity swaps. Right now, you're typically better off trying to get instant finality than focusing just on gas savings. But definitely stay tuned over the next few months. As I mentioned, we're getting those 5-minute deadlines down to about 30 seconds, which then gives you the ability to no longer have that trade-off between waiting and getting savings. So I'd say, like if you're swapping in like a low liquidity pool where like slippage and execution is super, super, super important, we may not be like the best tool just yet to use. But as I mentioned, we launched a few months ago and have a pretty small team. It's myself and my CTO. And so plan to hire out, a little bit larger team and start building some of the things that we talked about, which will allow us to essentially be this, this tool that you can use across every transaction, across every chain, in every wallet. But yeah, so I'd say that's like the one thing that we'd probably not recommend. We have had, and actually had this, I think 2 weeks ago. I'll see if I can find the tweet and put it up top. But was on a live demo for Bankless DAO and did a swap and Uniswap. The transaction took about 35 seconds and saved 30%. And so it doesn't mean that it's not possible. It just means that like we're not fully set up for low liquidity swaps just yet. So yeah, I'd say like that's the one thing, but yeah, keep an eye on. Obviously, feel free to shoot me a follow or Gas Talk account, and we'll continue to update everyone as we roll out these new feature sets. So yeah, definitely something we're aggressively building towards.
Awesome. And Josh, welcome. I see you have your hand up. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, good morning. Thanks for having me up. This is a great space and very interested in trading on Dash. I checked 6 months ago to see how much Dash I spent. Yeah.
Max Payne. And ETH is pumping, so it makes it worse, right?
Oh my god, it's gonna be at 10K, and then you're like, yeah, that's how much Dash I spent. Anyways, I wanted to ask a couple of questions. My first one being, have you stress tested yet with like high gas or high layer transactions? Like, when the bull market's back, are we still gonna be saving, 30% on gas, or is that savings gonna slowly, get smaller and smaller?
Yeah, great question. And the nice thing about our platform is that savings potential still exists in any environment. The difference is that 30%, instead of it being, maybe $3, is now $30, because the transaction, instead of it being $10, is now $200. And so, I don't know if we'll get back to, some of what we saw in like late 21, early 22, where like gas fees were, incredible. It was like 50, 60, 70, $100 a transaction. And I hope that we don't get back to the point. Would that be great for our business? Maybe. But I don't think it's good for everyday users, right? And so the nice thing is, like, the percentages still remain. The other part of our platform that's really exciting, as we continue to onboard new users and get more data flowing through the platform, we're actually able to update and continue to provide even a better experience with higher savings down the road. And so we feel very comfortable that those percentages will continue to increase moving forward. And then the difference is the net dollar value of your transaction likely goes up. And so you'll still save, the same percentage, but on a USD value, that number will actually be larger. So you'll have, the same percentage of savings, but a higher net USD savings, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for answering that question. And so I guess my other question as a DGen, if I'm trying to do something really fast, can I still use it? Is it still gonna be fast, or should I just not use it for those types of transactions?
Yeah, great question. Right now, for users who want, quick finality, what we'd recommend is to, in your account, when you sign up, you'll have your account dashboard. So one thing that I don't like about Twitter Spaces is versus like a Discord space, where like you can do like a screen share or something, or I'd provide like a quick demo of the platform. But what I mean by that is, like, once you connect to GasHawk and start, processing transactions, you'll start to see each transaction listed in your dashboard. On the left-hand side of the dashboard, you'll see an account settings button. In that account settings, you can adjust your account deadline, which will be for every transaction that flows through the platform. And what I'd recommend is set that to 5 minutes. And that's currently the minimum wait time that we have. I'm not sure when you joined in, so I'll give like a quick overview, but we plan to actually build out the ability to get that 5-minute wait time down to about 30 seconds. And so I think that's, ultimately the bigger impact of your question. But currently you can set to 5 minutes. That also means that in that 5-minute window, we will not wait the entire 5 minutes. It just means that we have 5 minutes to essentially look at the current fee market and then submit the transaction for you, given that 5-minute deadline. And so sometimes it'll be 40 seconds, sometimes it'll be a minute 10, sometimes it's a minute 30. What we've seen right now is if you submit your transaction through MetaMask to like the public mempool without using without using GasHawk or any other RPC, the average wait time right now ranges from about 40 seconds to about a minute and 10. And that's for your transaction to go through, get confirmed, obviously pending your base fees and priority fees, which is another aspect that we actually handle for you. And so, yeah, what I would do is I would set my deadline to 5 minutes. And that's going to be like your quickest execution using GasHawk. We talked a little bit on the DGen side as well of our MBV protection that's built into the product. And so obviously, if you're like a power DeFi user, you want to make sure that you're getting protected from MEV and from sandwiching. And so, getting the MEV protection, getting sandwiching protection. GasHawk also prevents failed and stuck transactions and then provides this impactful savings. So we think, the combination of all those things built into one tool is really impactful, even for, kind of hardcore degens that want, close to instant finality. So yeah, that's my answer is I'd set it to 5 minutes now. And then over the next, 4, 6, 8 weeks, we'll actually have lower deadlines available as well.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, that's about it from me.
Thanks, Josh. Those were great questions. Great questions. If anybody has any questions, feel free to hit request. We have like 10 more minutes. But in the meantime, Dan, anything new that's coming out? Anything that you guys are working on, or anything coming out soon that maybe you want to tell us about?
Yeah, the one-click add to wallet, something we launched in the last few days. So that's super, super exciting. especially from like a usability perspective. So as I mentioned, you can come onto our site. You can enter in an ENS address or a public address, see how much we could have saved you. Click, start saving now, and then within one click, actually start using our product. So I think that's really nice. Before, it was about like 6 steps. It was, open up your MetaMask wallet, click on settings, add to network, copy and paste the stuff in. So it wasn't like too complicated, but obviously one click is just so much easier. So we think that's really exciting. We talked a little bit about deadlines. That's big for us because that's not only something that our users are requesting, but also the enterprises who want close to instant finality as well. So those deadlines are super big for us. Building across the EVM stack into other layer ones and layer twos is also big. So we have we have a lot of things kind of on the roadmap from like a tech standpoint. We're actually working on a few educational video designs, which we think will be super impactful as well. So we'll have like a 60-second video that's being made that's kind of, what is Gashawk? How does it work? Why should I use it? Some of the questions that we've, walked through today, just in like a quick digestible format, instead of having like a FAQ or a link out to our docs. So yeah, working a lot on like our UI, our UX, our onboarding flow, usability. And so yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Like I said, we're a 2-person team that launched a few months ago, and so we are definitely not in a position where like this is a final polished product. So yeah, I would say just stay tuned. Drop me a follow, drop the Gashawk account a follow. We try to keep our users updated. In our Twitter account, we obviously link out to our Discord, so we'll provide updates there. And so yeah, there's a lot of stuff on our pipeline and on our roadmap. It's for us just a question of how do we divide up the work and how do we get it done and things like that. So stay tuned.
That's awesome. And just to clarify, so you mean like I no longer have to add the RPC. It's just a click of a button and automatically connects me to that RPC?
You got it.
I love that. I love that. I hate adding different RPCs manually.
Yeah. No, I mean, not only is it like a few extra steps, it's somewhat confusing, right? Like, we think we laid it out pretty well. It's actually still on the site. It's something that we need to update. Like I said, part of the long to-do list. But if you go to gashawk.io, which is our main site, you'll see a button in the top right corner that says Get Started. If you click on that Get Started button, you'll see it says Use our one-click installation, add Gashawk RPC to wallet. And so that's the new feature, which is super quick, super easy. But actually underneath, you'll see kind of the old step where it says or add the Gashawk RPC manually. And so it's not like too complicated. It's like open up your MetaMask, click on the account settings, go to networks, add network, copy and paste the stuff in. So yeah, we just think it's a much more seamless and enjoyable process. We knew that some people were a little bit apprehensive of copying and pasting stuff into their wallet, and rightfully so, right? We talk about wallet security and wallet hygiene, and so we think that one-click added network is just such a powerful onboarding tool, so that you're doing it right. You can get started really quickly. And then, obviously we talked about that savings potential. We've seen really great conversion rates on site. People that come on like, oh, I heard about Gashawk. It sounds great. How much could I save? Oh, I could have saved 1 ETH, 5 ETH, 10 ETH, 100 ETH, whatever it may be. And then, within 5 seconds, 10 seconds, you're signed up, you're ready to go. And then as we talked about earlier, we think the nice thing about the RPC layer is now you're just using your wallet like you normally would. So within one click, you're signed up to our network. And then it's not like this sandbox area where, I have to go to Gashawk and I can only do it for these 3 things. No, once I connect to the network, I'm using my wallet every day just like I normally would, except for now I'm saving and getting protection added on to every single transaction. So little bit of a long-winded answer, but yeah, we're super excited about that one-click added network.
That's awesome. Thanks, Dan. Any other questions or comments from the panel?
I just think it's a
No,
really exciting
answer.
technology. Sorry to interrupt. I just think what you guys are building is. I know you said you're a small team. It's your CTO, but I've seen this project scaling massively because from an end user, enterprise roll ups, like this is probably like one of the major bottlenecks for the adoption of crypto. And all the things that we touch on, I think you guys almost like an umbrella for, hey, I don't want to have to deal with MEV. Okay, well, go to Gas Hawk and it takes care of that. Hey, I don't want to deal with expensive gas transaction and go to Gas Hawk and to handle that. Hey, I'm a roll up and I want to make sure that I roll my transaction at the right time. I mean, it feels like you guys can be a point of almost like releasing a lot of pressure that's around like gas price and getting people to adopt crypto. So I'm just hooking it all up, and yeah, I think you guys are doing something really massive.
Yeah, go ahead, Josh. Did you want to add something? Sorry.
No, you did. I was just gonna say he answered all my questions. Great talk, and I learned a lot about what you guys are building, and I'm excited. This is actually something that we need. I don't want to pay 0.5 ETH to gas anymore. Thank you.
I totally agree. And speaking of Jenny, the man of the hour, Leo, welcome.
Hey, how's everybody doing? I just wanted to come up and say hi. I was just looking at the app. Oh, I don't know. I keep raising my hand here. It said I could have saved close to 5 ETH in gas. Is that calculated before you even start? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's based on, you'll see it kind of in like the small text underneath where it, how much could you have saved, but it's based on about a 30% savings potential, which is a little bit below our average right now. So that number could actually be a little bit higher. But yeah, we just wanted to provide a really kind of impactful tool for a lot of users who, may have been around the last like few years. There is this tool called it was called fees.wtf. It was kind of a really viral, popular platform probably about a year ago when gas fees were like crazy. And so that was kind of our take on this type of platform is not only do we want to show you how much you've spent, but obviously more impactful for us, how much we could have saved you. And so, yeah, we think it's a super cool tool.
Wow, Leo, how does it feel to know you spent 5 ETH on gas?
I want to throw up right now because I don't think my wallet's worth 5 ETH.
I
Oh
felt
my
that, Leo.
God.
That's pretty bad.
That's funny. But thanks for coming up, Leo. And Dan, thanks so much for your time and for coming by. I think, aside from everybody being in utter shock of how much they've spent, this has been a great discussion. But yeah, thank you so much for coming by and for sharing with the community. Any last words?
No, I mean, thanks so much for having us. I just linked. Sorry, I was just checking my my Twitter feed, and I think Jonathan, who's in the audience, said that we should make a demo video and post it to the top of the Twitter space. But I just linked out. We did a demo for Bankless DAO, who people in the space may be very familiar with. And so link that out to the top of the space as well. So yeah, feel free to take a look at the demo. A lot of the stuff we talked about today, but yeah, really appreciate the ability to come up, talk about what we're doing. Obviously, I'm super biased, but I think what we're building is like super impactful and super useful for users. The last things that I'll mention is, GasLock is free to use for users. There's no fee, there's no percentage of savings, there's no usage-based model, anything like that. And then currently, and I think this was the first shared post that Jeff put up, we're currently still providing reimbursements to users for using GasLock. So about 0.37, 0.38 ETH left from our first ENS public goods grant that we're actually reimbursing back to users until that grant runs out. So yeah, hopefully I've done enough to pique your interest on this call. We think it's a super valuable tool, and we'll love for you guys to try us out. Our DMs are open on the GasLock account as well. So if there's any feedback as you're using the platform, feature requests, feel free to shoot us a DM, jump in our Discord, ask us questions. But yeah, just super thankful for the opportunity to come up, and excited to hopefully see some more people trying us out. And then I think the last thing I'll mention is on that savings side. We do have the ability for like that tweet. And so not only can you show, hey, I could have saved, X amount with GasHawk, that's super impactful for us, because right now it's a very small team with, pretty limited marketing budget. So word of mouth and referrals are super impactful. But actually, as you use the product, each transaction that you process through GasHawk will have this celebration card. And it'll show, hey, I just saved, $3, which is 70% by using GasHawk. And so you don't have to. It doesn't dox your address or anything like that. But those type of things are super helpful for us to help get the word out. See people on the timeline that's oh, wow, that seems interesting. Let me go try it. So long story short, super thankful for the opportunity to come up. And yeah, feel free to connect with myself or the GasTalk account